often I would say, I am using the very same textbook that you're using. I know I am teaching the way you are teaching your students. It's just heartbreaking that my students would have to retake the course at your institution, that they can't transfer it. So, I mean, we knew we were doing things that way, so as soon as that accreditation was open to us, we did seek it. It was a big step for a career college, and for the longest time, we were the only one in the state of Ohio, the only career college accredited. Now I think there's only two independent career colleges in Ohio that have North Central accreditation. But we do have it, and we're glad, and it's just a great process for anyone to go through. So, does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
So that, what we find, I know this is an adult learning class, right? Is that the name of the class? Say? Okay. And certainly that's what we have is adult learners. Our average age is 30. And it bounces like 29 per, every quarter. 29, 30, 31. We've even gone as high as 32. But generally, always comes out, if we did over the year, it would be 30. Our average age is 30. So these students who come to us have had a lot of life experiences. Many of them have been to other colleges, and some success, some not success. We are 85% female for the most part. And most of them, I can't make a statement about this. I was going to say most of them have earned a GED rather than graduate, but I don't think that's true anymore. I mean, there's been some years it's been that way, but I really think most of them have graduated. They have to either have a high school diploma or a GED in order to come. We would not accept them otherwise. Many of them are single moms, and many of them have stayed home raising their children, and now they say, this is my time to come to school. Some of them just want to better themselves. They are working, they have the work experience, especially in our evening. And I know it seems really quiet here tonight. What we have done with our evening students, our evening classes, we do have some classes here, generally not on Monday evening, just because we don't run on. Monday would be our lighter day. And we only have classes Monday through Thursday. Except for special 1-hour seminars or something on a Friday. But most of the time, the Monday is the lighter day because it's a lot of Monday holidays, and if we have just a Monday-only class, they're out of class. So this is a lighter day. But we have our Sylvania building, so we have 2 buildings. That's what our campus consists of, and we run most of the classes in the evening, all in the Sylvania building. And that way, they just have a nucleus over there that's very healthy. Otherwise, there's classes here Tuesday and Thursday till 8, Wednesday till 8. It's a little busier. Monday, you picked a good day.
Thank you.
Good day, quiet evening. Do you have questions that you have to have answered? You have a handout, so.
What are the differences between Davis College or your institution and like Owens or a career center?
Good questions. Owens is a community college, so they are state supported. We are proprietary, so while our students get financial aid, it's not that the government programs don't exist for our students. We are not supported. We don't, they don't pay for any of our advertising, anything. We are a business, So we're a blend of a business and an educational institution. So it is a business, and I think it's a little more of a business environment when you walk in and you see the reception area and so on. That's the major difference. Consequently, our tuition is higher because no one is subsidizing their tuition. So it is approximately $350 a credit hour. And our programs are, we have some diploma programs that are one-year programs. 1 year meaning we're in quarters, so we have stayed to quarters. That's a difference too. And that's typical of a lot of career colleges because students, a semester is a long time for them. And, you know, it's a long time for, I was a quarter student, I was a semester student.
I did my undergraduate at Ohio State, and then the last year they switched, and I was like,
it's like it's never going to end, right? I mean, if you never knew that, it was okay, but I was caught in the same thing at Bowling Green, and I know what you mean. So, you know, 16 weeks for students, and I know at Bowling Green, you divide some of the courses up into 5-week courses even, just because of the mundane. So you lose them. So if we can keep it and, you know, you can help them look at it from, oh, I only have 11 weeks. You know, that's a pretty short time out of my life. I can make this. So we are on 11-week quarters. So we have 3 quarters and a summer quarter. Our summer quarter is 1 week shorter. It's a 10-week quarter, but we just don't have that exam week added onto it. Otherwise, it's the same. We block our classes. We have blended classes, many blended classes. We flip classes, definitely. We use a lot of technology. We do have some web classes, but interestingly enough, our web classes, students will say, I want them, but when they get in them, they don't want them because they just aren't good time managers, you know, maybe a little organizationally challenged, and they find it's much more difficult. You know, and we sit down and we say to them, okay, this is a 3-hour class. That means you would be sitting in the classroom 3 hours. Map that out, put that in your schedule first. Then you're going to have a homework for that class on top of it, so you map out another, at least 4 hours for that. So do you have 7 hours in your week? Because that's what you need. And it's just very, very difficult. Some of them, you know, but not the majority. But we do offer a few, and they're kind of naturals, like an advanced spreadsheet class, an advanced word processing class, a medical word processing class. We have a humanities, a rhetoric, film and culture that we offer in the summertime for them. And that, you know, we just try and offer some winter and summer more online than others. Did I answer it?
I think so. What's the answer between a community college, but what about like adult learning programs that are offered at a career center?
Right, they don't have the accreditation we have, for one thing, so they couldn't transfer. We have done some articulation. For instance, Clay, who said they had been at Clay? Right. Clay had a really good career center. And we did an articulation with them so that their students, after completing, if they wanted to come here, we would just take some of the courses. It was in the medical program, and they just aligned with ours so well. But, you know, they don't get college credit for those classes unless you have something like that. There's is really program-specific, career-specific, so almost a certificate type. We do have certificates, but they are through our workforce development. So, again, that would be the college courses that would transfer to BG or Lords or whatever. We have pathways with Lords. We have some direct articulations. Spring Arbor actually teaches a bachelor's degree program here on our campus. Because they're in modules, 1 night a week for 18 months. It's a 2+2. So they use our space, a space that we have available in the Sylvania building. And many of our students do transfer on to Spring Arbor for their bachelor's. It's in organizational development, I believe. Many of them go on to awards, many of them go on to, we've had them transfer to Ohio State, go in almost as juniors. So, lacking maybe one class or something of being a junior. So they go to UT. We have some, especially in the interior design, it's a good program for them to go to Bowling Green.
So what kind of programs do you mentioned interior design and
Yes.
medical? Do you have a business
We
specific program?
do. Let me give you this. This is not our catalog. We call it a view book because our catalog is online now, so I could give you that. Right now, we are in the midst of our catalog review, so our programs will be changing. And we do that every 2 years. We go through a complete curriculum review. Advisory committees involved and all. Do you want to take one for?
Please, I appreciate
you
it,
and
Peggy.
for?
Yes, thank you.
So, we have these 4 areas, kind of lump some together, but we have the office administration medical areas together, so we have what we call administrative professional majors. There's a medical secretarial major with that. There's a medical coding, medical insurance and coding major, and there is a medical assistant. The medical assistant was the one I told you had a specialized accreditation so that they can sit for certification tests. So that's one area. Then I mentioned the design area, and in design, we have graphic design and interior design, associate degrees. I'm not sure, this booklet might also show website and motion and visual. However, we're repackaging those 2 programs, so they won't be standalone majors anymore. Then in the business area, we have the business management, marketing, our computers, networking is in that area. There's a sports and rec marketing. Those students too, I know Bowling Green has a program, and they have them transfer on. Also from computers, they've gone over to Bowling Green more than anywhere else, I think. We have an early childhood education administration program, and that one is a partnership with a daycare center that, so our students go to the center for their ECE classes, and then they take all of the other classes, business and general ed here. So that's another one we're kind of looking at, and it may change a little bit. I'm sure I missed some. Oh, retail and fashion merchandising, and hospitality management. Let's see, did I miss any? I should know all of these by heart. Did I need them all? Okay.
For the retail and fashion merchandise, do you find a lot of students go to BG for that as well?
No, we haven't. Mostly because they just want to get jobs.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
experience.
They do. And with the mall so close,
Mhm.
they just want to do an externship there, and that's where they want to go. Or when we go to tour, you'll see this big Chicago trip sign. Every 2 years, we do a Chicago trip, and we take them on a whirlwind tour of Chicago. We leave early in the morning, come back late at night. We used to do 2 to 3 days, but those days are gone. You bring it down to 1 day. And the interior design students go, business students go, and then they divide up among our faculty members as to what they're going to see and what they're going to do while we're there. And we have many of our graduates working in Chicago. Hear from them, they link up with us when they know we're coming on the tour, so they've done really well. just amazing. So we really haven't had that good transfer out. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, I asked that question. I actually work at the shoe department with a girl who's in retail and fashion merchandising. And I just talked with her because she just talks about the experience. She's like, I just need to get experience. And she's getting ready to move to Italy because she just got married and everything and is stationed over there. So it's like, that's a great place for that.
Oh my goodness, it
Yeah,
is.
so she's going to be in the middle of it all. But I was just curious. She says a lot of people just go and take the internship and to get the experience. That's really good in retail and fashion. And pay reviews and all that.
That's right.
When they're in Chicago, Vicki, do they go to like the apparel center or the
Yes.
Mercantile Exchange or
Yes.
those kinds of things?
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
Okay.
And so the interior design go one way,
Mhm.
the fashion students another. They take in the museums, the different museums, sports, take in the fields.
Sure.
Business, the Mercantile Exchange, of course. They do the architectural tour down at
Wow.
Union Pier. That's they get on the boat, actually do that whole architectural tour. And so that's why we wait, I think it's May 2nd that they're going. We had to wait till it was going, and hopefully the ice is all gone and they'll be able to take the tour, because that's just great. All of the students do that, and they gain so much from that. So it is, I went with them a couple years ago. It was just fantastic. I could not believe my head was gushing. You know, Frank Lloyd Wright's home, and you know, they just have it mapped out, and so they can take one group here and go, and one group here and go, and then they meet back, and it's just a fantastic place. And our students love it. They do. What we've done is it's Explore Chicago, so it's actually a 1 credit hour web course right now at the beginning of the quarter. So they've been going online and doing all of this research about Chicago and about some of the places they're going to go, take some little quizzes about it and so on, so that they'll be all prepped by the time they get on that bus.
Wow.
And go. Now, they cannot get the 1 credit hour. They can't get the credit if they don't go on the tour. Yeah. Fantastic for them, you know, and many have never been. So, I think there's about 45, 50 signed up.
What's your most popular programs?
Medical. The medical are the most popular, followed by business management. And I mean, it is neck and neck right there. And whether or not that's because Davis has always been known as a really strong business college in Toledo, but you know, medical just because students see that and see jobs. You know, the job market is there. But the business management is just, they're always neck and neck.
When you said before that you were going to be pinning, do you do what kind of nurse program or what kind of medical program it
It is a medical
is?
assisting, and they'll be certified medical assistants. But we also pin our administrative professional medical secretarial majors. Okay, they get a pin of their own, even though they're, you know, there's no certification to go with that. And we also pin our medical coders. So then, you know, when they are out there doing their, we call them externships, when they're out doing that, they have that pin to identify themselves, along with, of course, uniform, but the medical assistants do, but, you know, they have a pin to identify themselves and know that they reached a certain point in their program before they were pinned. I mean, you know, they have to be, we have something, I don't know how unique it is. I think when we started here it was unique, but I'm not going to say how unique it is now. We have all of our students go through a mid-program review, mid-program assessment, we call it MPA. And by all our students, I mean all of our associate degrees. And actually, this grew out of one of our self-studies for the Higher Learning Commission, when they said, you know, how do you know that the students are learning what you teach? It goes back to assessment. I'm sure you've been hammered with assessment, and your classroom assessment techniques that you need to do. And we looked at it, one of the things that bothered us most was that our students don't all go full-time. We have very few, I would say, that go full-time. Most of them choose a 3/4 time, 9 to 11 credit hours on quarter rather than the magic 12 that's full-time. Because that allows them to take maybe 2 courses or 3 courses rather than 4 courses a quarter. And when they're busy with families and with work and just getting back into school, handling that much is hard for them. So they would go 3/4 time, which means that they're probably going to finish in 2.5 to 3 years rather than 2 years. And what would happen is the students are just stretching their program out. You know, they get to the end and they were just nervous and unsure. And so many times they say, I just don't know if I'm ready to do this. I just don't know. Maybe I was in the wrong major. Maybe, you know, we just heard all of these doubts. And we were always reaffirming. And, you know, the externship was in place, but they just really had these doubts. So along with this assessment, writing this report, and really taking a look at that, we put in place a mid-program assessment. So we have identified certain foundation courses that they need to take, along with at least 2 general education courses. And when if our program is 90 credits or 94 credits or 110 credits, when they get about halfway through their number of credits, we will schedule them for a mid-program assessment. And it's by department or by program area, so all of them are a little different. The business ones, the business MPAs are targeted interviews or oral testing type where they sit down with the student and they have a specific set of questions and a rubric to go along with it. But generally the foundation courses in that are Intro to Business and Accounting 1. So the major portion of their questions are going to come from those courses. So, you know, could you tell me the different types of businesses? Can you give me an example of each? Describe, give me a definition of them. What are the basic management principles? In accounting, it might be, what are the components of the balance sheet? What is the, how do I find net worth? Describe an asset and a liability. You know, all those basic expected learner outcomes from those 2 classes. And then, you know, there might be another one that they put in with just a kind of a general question for them. But what they can find out is, can that student, you know, talk to me about that, discuss it right away. Do I have to coach them? So they go, you know, this way, needed some coaching on the rubric, didn't have a clue. Well, if we don't have a clue, and this is our major, and I'm halfway through my program, something's wrong. And it's not maybe that it's something wrong with them, maybe it's something wrong with us. And actually, you know, we did find that in some cases that we changed books, a different professor had just kind of diluted a chapter that others, you know, we thought was very important. We had to bring that back up to the forefront. You learn so much about yourself when you do assessment like that. And that's what we tell the students. This isn't to hold you back. This is to find out how we're doing and how you're doing, because we should both be here. And if we're not, where is the problem? Since we've done that at the halfway point, then the students just seem to sail away for the other half, and they are just happy. Or they discover, you know, this is really not me. I like the marketing classes. I think I'd rather change from business management to marketing. Or, you know, this is just not going well for me. We have discovered so many things, and they have, that it's been really, really healthy. So that's our mid-program assessment. One of the foundation courses we have that everyone takes is Forum on Technology and Resources. And in that course, they do, it's similar to a freshman orientation course, but I would say it's more. Because it's not just a class that they have to take their first quarter, because maybe they're not ready for it their first quarter, because they do need some technology skills. And if they don't have those, we need to make sure they get into some of the computer classes first. But it has a regular classroom part to it, and certainly we look at their learning methods. We look at test-taking techniques for them, study habits, but it goes beyond. It gets into problem solving and critical thinking and basic writing. And then they go into the computer lab and they do a little bit with spreadsheets, a little bit with Microsoft Word. They do a basic resume. They do some PowerPoint, some Outlook, so that whole suite. And then they begin putting their portfolio together. So then this portfolio, which becomes a career portfolio, they work at adding to it every quarter. So by the time they get to mid-program assessment, they bring a portfolio into that interview or the testing or whatever, and sit down with that committee and they talk about that and what they need to do to be truly marketable. At Davis, the one thing that we emphasize is marketable skills. That's our mission, to provide marketable skills, and everything we do goes back to that. So that mid-program assessment and portfolio is all about marketable skills. Does this make them marketable? They boo-hoo about it sometimes, and then they'll come back and say, that portfolio gave me the edge when I went for my interview. The other candidates didn't have it. So we know it's useful. I know there's the e-portfolios. We encourage them to keep a lot on the computer and on this, but we have not gone the whole e-portfolio. They have it in hand. So all of our students have that. Then at the end of their program, they take business communications. I know business communications is a great class in the business ed program at Bowling Green. And with that, that resume that they started, they make sure that it's a finished product. They work with our career services director, and they go through a mock interview. And they can either take that course their last quarter or their next to the last quarter, and then we should have everything tied up in a nice, pretty bow, and they should be ready to get a job or go on. So, how that works.
You said that the Davis College is basically, it's a business. So how do you market? I mean, enrollment is what drives your college. So do you just do I don't want to say typical, but do you do like commercials? Do you go out into high schools?
Right.
I know your average age is 30,
Right.
but still.
We still do, and we do all of the above. And just today, admissions and our interior design chair went up to Bedford High School because they have a program, and they were in with sophomores, juniors, seniors. We go, and Whitmer is right there, and all of Toledo. We know what our big zip codes are, certainly, but we still pull in from here, there, and everywhere. So we do market. Our website, we get a lot of hits on that. We've done billboards. We do what a lot of career colleges do, the Val Packs.
Can you explain about?
Yeah, it's, do you not have it? Yes, the Val Pack, yeah, it comes in a big envelope, and there's a whole slew of,
Got it.
yes. So we're in there before quarters start, when we're starting to schedule for the next quarter. It'll be in there, and we'll start programs and so on. What's funny about career schools, we think, is that when they hear one, they they've heard you. I mean, our quarters start at a different time in Stotzenberger, but they'll tell us that they heard us on TV. When we weren't on TV then, we know we weren't on TV, but Stotzenberger was probably on TV then, because their quarter is different. That's, you know, that, I don't know, that's just the funny thing about Toledo, I guess, but we've always gotten a big kick of it. One of the things we do with advisory committees too, and I think our referral, our biggest way of getting students is referral. You know, we have been here 155 years, not right here, but we've been in Toledo 155 years. We are definitely one of the oldest business colleges in Ohio, if not. You know, the state board thinks we really should research it because they think we're probably one of the oldest in the states, but I don't know that. But we are in Ohio, one of the oldest. And you know that that has to be referral. So, you know, somebody comes in and will say, how did you hear about it? Well, my aunt went here, my grandpa went here, you know, oh, my mom, and, you know, it just goes on and on. It's referral, very definitely. So.
Did it start out more men in the beginning?
Yes, it did. Because it started, interesting again, this has been owned by two families, the Davises, and it was started by Miss Davis's, I always forget if it was her great-grandfather or grandfather, but they actually came out of Canada and bought the schools, and it was penmanship, it was really the mercantile, the whole mercantile thing way back then, in the 1800s, that these people needed some skills, penmanship skills, bookkeeping, the accounting skills, and so that's what they taught. And it was definitely men. And it really did not become popular for women until after the war, until the men went to war. And then the women were going to have to make a living, and they came to school. So then, of course, the secretarial programs became very strong.
How long has there been two campuses? Is there like another here?
It's
Two
right here,
buildings.
two buildings on this campus, right.
Okay, yeah.
So when I started at Davis, we were downtown, it was, you know, a downtown location. And so it was Miss Davis's family. I say Miss Davis because she's the one who hired me. And that was Ruth Davis. She was very good friends with all the Bowling Green people. And I don't know how many of you have heard of Merle Guthrie. Patrick Guthrie's name float around at all. We're getting at the tail end of it.
I think so, yeah.
But, you know, they were, the whole era, just great business educators, you know, second to none, I would say, and very much cared about. They started the American Management Society, AMS in Toledo. That group still kind of gets together.